This is Worldwide Flava Network. Coast to coast and worldwide.
The views, information, or opinions expressed on the broadcast of Worldwide Flava Network are solely those of the individuals involved and does not represent those of Worldwide Flava Network and Live365.com. Worldwide Flava Network is not responsible and does not verify for accuracy of the information contained on any live or recorded broadcast available for listening on the site.
Hey, you guys, this is Anika from Anika Tells All.
Tune in every Thursday from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Worldwide Flava Network. See you then.
It's your girl, A. Michelle. Join us on Sundays from 10 until 12 noon for the Baltimore Flava Gospel Show on Worldwide Flava Network. This show is being sponsored by Worldwide Flava Network. If you are looking to have your own radio show, come and join us here on WWFN Online Radio. Contact us via our website, www.worldwideflavanetwork.com.
In the darkness of the night, I can tell you wanna see something more than the moonlight. Bitter batter, I feel your heart is anticipating love. Oh, oh. Introduction of our first time. Baby, all of me is yours. There's no doubt I'm into you. Where your body turns me on. Oh, oh. I can tell you feel it too. As I rock you in my arms. Bitter batter, I feel your heart is anticipating love. Oh, oh. Introduction to our first time. Baby, all of me is yours. Tonight, baby girl, let me love you right. With pleasure. Tonight, your night, baby girl, let me hold you tight. With pleasure. Tonight, your night, baby girl, let me love you right. With pleasure. Tonight, your night, baby girl, let me love you right. With pleasure. Can you help me with this love jolt I have for you? So attracted to you, baby, that I don't know what to do. Can you help me with this love jolt I have for you? So attracted to you, baby, baby.
Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night on the Hot Topics Live. It's your girl, A. Michelle, here in the studios. I know I missed you guys too. I missed you guys last week. Last week was just a fun week. It was very, 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 very busy for me. As you know, I was participating in Fashion Week with Sharon Nixon and her team, and it was just simply awesome. That's all I can tell you. If you are not or have not been or any of that good stuff, you need to be a part of Fashion Week for next year because Fashion Week was just absolutely phenomenal. The fashion was off the chain. All the different events they had all week long was just really, 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 really nice and fun. And so last Thursday, we were down at the Springfield I can't even remember. It's a hotel. I do know that. We were down there just hanging out, having a good time. And it was one of the festivities they had all week long because every day there was something different going on. So I was trying to make all the different events and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And Saturday, if you got to see my live on Saturday, showing some of the fashions, it was just amazing. The styles were just amazing. And then on Sunday, I had Salute Culture. I was hosting that event at the RL Hotel. Yeah, RL Hotel. I keep wanting to say Hotel RL. I don't know why I want to call it the other way, but I was down at the RL Hotel, Salute Culture. Shout out to my brothers, Blue and Bernard. They both just did an excellent job on the event, the different styles. You need to go to their website, I think it's saluteculture.com, I believe it is. But you can go to my website, my Facebook page, and you can get any information about it as well. But they had some really great fashions and it was just really, really nice. Salute Culture and Samaj, because they both were combined together doing some fashion on Sunday. So it was just a lot going on this weekend. I hope everybody had a great week so far. We are here now at Thursday and tomorrow is Friday. Yes. And so I do have a busy weekend again this weekend. We have some great things going on. If you can stop by, we will be participating in the back to school drive over on the west side. We were trying to do something over here on the east side, but we couldn't get it all worked out. But we're going to get something going on over here on the east side next year, but that we are participating as a station. But the station will be participating over at the back to school drive. Mike Floyd and his team, we participated last year. We're going to participate again this year. And so we will be over on Florence Avenue on Sunday. So if you want to come by, hopefully some of the radio personalities, a lot of them will be there, but we'll all be there in different capacities. But you'll be able to see some of the radio personalities that's here on Worldwide Flavor Network, as well as we'll be giving out school supplies and all that good stuff. Former radio personalities that will be there as well. And so we're just having an exciting weekend. And I have some photography jobs to do this weekend. So I'm going to be really, really busy. But I am just so excited that things are just moving right on along with, in spite of how things have been said about our city and our country and our state and all that kind of stuff. I'm just glad things are still looking up, regardless of what we hear and see. Things are still moving and looking in a positive direction. If you tuned in when we started the show, the music that you heard was our guest that's tonight. He is just absolutely phenomenal. I fell in love with his music the first time I met him, and that is, well, his name is Jay Treese in music, but we call him Joel. That's his real name. But his music is just one of them kind of musics that get you. And so, it's like, even once I stop listening to it, I hear it in the car sometimes because I have it on the station. So I'll listen to that song and the rest of the day, I'm just jamming to that in my head. It's like, his music kind of gets in you. And so I am just so glad you were able to join me on tonight. How are you? Say good evening to everybody.
How you doing, people?
Oh my goodness. Great. It's great to see you. It's been a minute since I've seen you, but I listen to your music. We chat on, all the time, off and on all the time. But it was just great to be able to get you on the books because I've been seeing how busy you've been. And so I was like, let me just see if he got something new out and let's see if he can, slide in here and say, hey, for a minute, talk to the people. And he does have some new music. Hey, Tiffany, thanks for joining. I am just so glad you could join me on tonight because I wanted to talk about your music, but just wanted to talk about some things that's going on here in our community, just, in Baltimore and all that good stuff. And just trying to get different people views and from different perspectives, because you know everybody thinks differently, everybody feels differently. And being a native of Baltimore, you know, sometimes we can get very defensive, you know I do. And regardless of where I go, I still love Baltimore. I still love Baltimore. And so first we want to, talk about what's going on with you. You've had a lot of things going on, I've seen on Facebook and Instagram. So the event you had this week, was it this? Yes, this weekend. You had on Saturday or Sunday?
On Sunday.
Sunday.
Up in
Yes.
Bel Air, Maryland.
Okay.
It's called Main Street Tower on Main Street in Annapolis, in Bel Air, Maryland.
Okay.
Myself, band I sing with from time to time, Legacy Grooves, and Yolanda Yolanda Richardson Parker, Peanut.
Okay.
Did some stuff with her. It was a good turnout. It was come to find out they were to the max the first time they'd ever sold out. There we sold them out, and they want us to come back and do some more stuff.
Awesome,
So we'll go back
awesome.
in
I
October.
caught some of it because I was busy, but I kept kind of clicking in, and whenever I saw you did something, I'll click back in and listen for a few minutes and all. But it was great to see you making that move like that here locally, because I know most of the stuff lately you have been doing a little further away.
Arkansas.
Yeah. So how did all of that go?
It went good. Arkansas, I met a lot of people. Met the mayor. She has my information. Talked about possibly coming back down to do some stuff. Done stuff in Annapolis, Crownsville, Maryland. I mean, it's been crazy. Since I
Awesome.
put the first single out, it's been running ever since.
Awesome, awesome. So you did say something about you have some new music. We already know that, but you're talking the album is gonna come out real soon.
Should be by the end of the month.
Okay, that's
The
awesome.
album is going to be called With Love.
With love. Okay. I might have to share it. I'm gonna have to share that with a friend of mine. She has a let's match business. And so she's, I know she would love some of that music when she's doing her classes and things like that, just to have a variety of different music. Now I remember there was a song, and I'm not sure if this is the two that you gave me are part of that.
Actually,
but
one of them was With Love. I gave you.
Right. That's the song that I was going to talk about, because I remember hearing a song that you did that was called With Love before that you sent me offline. And so I wasn't sure if that was the exact same one still, or had you
That's the
done
same
some
one.
change? Okay.
This one, With Love, it came about. I happen to be watching television. I watch a lot of news.
Yes, you do.
I happen to be watching. Anybody that knows me knows that me and Donald Trump have a special kind of.
Woo! I read your comments.
Yeah, I don't let them get away with anything.
Right.
But anyway, he made a statement about America in general, and somebody said something about this land was started as a melting pot with different nationalities.
Right.
And,
That's right. I
that made
remember
me-
you.
That
Yeah.
made me write this song, and one of the lines in the song says, "This land was started as a melting pot. We'll take it back, you see, with love." So he's the one that
Wow.
somewhat
He inspired.
me to, yeah. Or made me mad to write the song.
Wow. Yeah, I remember. Now it came back to me. I remember how that. I just remember there was a song called With Love. That's all I do remember. I didn't remember that was the premise behind it. And so, as you are now, how many songs you plan to have on this album?
It will be 10.
Awesome.
Yeah, 8 to 10. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Awesome.
it's going to be 8. I think 2 of them's going to be remixes, but yeah. total 10.
Okay, that sounds good. So will we have the one we opened up with? Will that be on there, or
Yeah,
that
that's
is going
on- yeah,
that
that's
is going to be on? Okay, because sometimes people do a single and that just stays just what it is. It didn't cut the album, but since
the first 3 singles I put out, which was Tonight, which you played,
Mhm.
Heartbeat, and Because I'm Happy, those 3 are going to be on the CD,
Okay.
along with 5 to 6 more.
Okay, awesome. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it because they will all be on WWFN. So if you tune in, and as I said, tune in. I listen to you whenever it comes up, and it comes up quite frequent. Because it does the cycle that it does. As I guess maybe because sometimes certain songs catch up with people too. So when I look and I'll listen, I'm like, okay, and then I'll come back and turn back on the radio and I'll be like, he just went off. But I'll realize it's been like a couple hours or something later on. But you know how you feel like you just heard it or something. But yeah, I truly I love the Tonight song. That just like it's like one of them groove songs. Like when I'm in the car, it really kind of gets me. Or and sometimes I've been sitting at my desk though. And I'll be forgetting sometimes I'm at work. Cause you know, you be so in tune to what you're doing. And then I'll be listening and I'll be just jamming like, oh, like, okay, Ashley, you are still at work, you know, because all of a sudden you'll start singing it, you know, because you got the earbuds in. So you realize you're getting, you know, kind of loud. They hearing you like, okay, what you singing over there?
Like 50,000 to 100 more of you listening to it. It'll be good. It's been doing well. Like I said, the 3 singles I put out right now, they're being played in, last time I checked, almost 50 different countries.
Awesome.
And it's just, like I said, it's crazy how it just caught on and it started running. I just picked up a couple more in England within the last week or so.
Awesome.
It's like I said, it's doing real well.
Awesome. That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that things are moving right along and that, you know, those opportunities out of the country are opening up. Because it seems as though some of our music is doing really well, just as a whole. Some of the R&B music has been doing really well in other countries. And
I say true R&B.
Right.
Because the R&B of today to me isn't the R&B I grew up on.
Right.
Grew up on.
Right.
It's a little different now. So
you're correct.
It's changed. Matter of fact, because my music, one of the songs I have, Heartbeat,
Mhm.
when I put it out, for some reason, and I consider it R&B, but they're putting it in smooth jazz. So what it is shifted. The stuff that we listen to that we consider R&B, they're considering smooth jazz now. And then the new stuff is considered R&B.
Right, and you are absolutely right, J-Trees. It's like you can't. It treads differently, and like for me, I put all your music, I think I know is labeled as R&B, and so I do know that there are other entities that would consider it either, but some of yours have that Latino feel, so it probably falls into those 2 categories, R&B and that Latin.
The one I sent you called "Keep Doing What You're Doing."
Okay,
has a Latin feel to it, and that's just because I listen to everything. Growing up, I've listened to everything, so
correct.
I put all those elements into my music. So when I do music, I just do what feels good to me.
Correct.
So I don't try to follow any
direct pattern.
Pattern or whatever. So like they said, sometimes you can't follow other people's path, make your own path. So that's what I did.
Awesome. I love. We're going to get ready to listen to With Love. I just want you guys to tune in. Understand that we are now streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So please go to our website. You can tune in and all that good stuff. We have a website, www.worldwideflavornetwork.com. And then we have all our platforms. And you can always go back and listen to any show you would like on the Mixcloud if you don't have to see the video portion. But you can always go to Worldwide Flavor YouTube and you can listen to all of that as well. So we have Tiffany says, where can we get your CDs from? The album is coming out the end of the month, but it will be streaming, correct?
Correct. You can get it anywhere you buy your music. iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, everywhere.
Tonight is still streaming though, right now, right? So tonight, the one was the opening song, Tiff. That song is still streaming on all the platforms right now. His album should be out the end of the month, and so you'll be able to get it. But don't worry, once he give me the okay, we gonna be putting it out there, because I can tell you the music is good. You getting ready to enjoy the song With Love. I've heard it. I liked it when he first sent it to me. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, because we kind of like the same stuff somewhat. So I know you're going to enjoy it as well. And so, Joe Treese, you can introduce this song for us.
Coming up next is it's not my new single, but it's one of the new singles, With Love.
Visions in my mind, they tend to speak to me, telling me what's wrong in this world and how it should be. If we turn back the hands of time, we'll see that all we need to be is love. Love. All we need is love. Love. All I wanna do is live, love, and be free. So why can't we just let the other man be? Live your life to fullest, won't you worry about me? Cause you know what I found in me is love. Love. All we need is love. Love. Open your mind, let your heart be free. You do you while I do me. Don't you worry about what may be, cause we found a baby. Hand in hand, we reach the top. Black and white, brown, we can't stop. This land was started as a melting pot. We'll take it back, you'll see. Love, we need love. Love, we need love. We'll take it back with love. We need love. Love, we need love. We'll take it back with love. We need love. Love, we need love. We'll take it back with love. We need love. Love, we need love. Open your mind, let your heart be free. You do you while I do me. Don't you worry about what may be, cause we found a baby. Hand in hand, we reach the top. Black and white, brown, we can't stop. This land was started as a melting pot. We'll take it back, you'll see. Bring to the stage. You know him, he don't need introduction. Jay Treese. Woo! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. I wanna feel the fire of your love. Baby, once can never be enough. Open up your heart and let me in. You got me falling for you once again. Got me calling out your name. I want you. Keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. Let me know you feel the same as I do. Keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. Doing what you're doing. Do you like it, baby? Like it, baby. Doing what you do, baby. Baby, you got something on your mind. Cause you know I can feel it on your tongue. As the thoughts of you and me unwind, girl, I get a taste of what's to come. Got me calling, I want you. Keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. Let me know you feel the same as I do. Keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. Doing what you do. Do you like it, baby? Like it, baby. Doing what you do, baby. Want it, lady, want it, lady. Doing what you do. Do you like it, baby? Like it, baby. Doing
Feel. And we are back, guys. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened on the camera, but we're back. Oh my goodness. I hope you were able to hear the music as much as I was hearing it. It was just absolutely amazing. I already knew the song with love, and of course, I grooved to that. But this one, oh my goodness, keep doing what you do. I like that. I like that. Tell me,
Different feel.
yeah, that's a whole different feel. So, how did that one come about?
I started off with actually the piano in it, and it was started off as, believe it or not, a house club song. The
Really?
piano chords and stuff. I started off as a house club song, and then from there it just morphed into this, and I'm like, I went a different direction,
Oh my
and that's
goodness.
what it
This
is.
is I really like that. That was really live. That kind of had your mixture though that time.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
had your R&B, you had your Latino. I mean, it was a little calypso in there. It was a little all that feel in there. Oh my goodness, I really like that. I really like that one. Wow. Wow. So have you already put the songs in the order you want them on the album? All of that is in
No,
place.
not really.
Okay.
Because I can do that today, and then I'll do it again tomorrow and put it in a different order. So I have to sit back and listen to it again and again and again, and then I'll figure out what type of order I want to put them in.
So, on the album, which song is going to get its good video first?
Probably keep doing what you do. More than
Okay.
likely. That's
Okay.
what I'm
Okay.
thinking. I have most of my stuff is keep doing what you do is probably the most up tempo song I have on the CD. Rest of everything else is smooth,
Okay.
mellow type of vibe. Um, so it's probably going to be that one. I think that
Okay.
one has more of a universal feel to it. Has that Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Estefan thing, Miami feel to it.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's going to be that one. That's more of a dance type song.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. So, would you be filming that here in Baltimore? Would you be filming that somewhere away?
realistically, I mean, well, not realistically. If I had my way,
Hmm.
it'd be somewhere on an island somewhere, or down in Miami is the way where I would do it. But
Okay, that can happen.
yeah, it's a possibility. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
We may do it here in Baltimore. Find a nice spot that get everybody, all people from different areas, nationalities, and everything there just partying and dancing to the song. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay, yeah, we might need to make up a dance for that song. I like that. I mean, just because of the style and the beat of it, the flair. I mean, it's so much. I can see with doing something with that. That could play a whole lot of different ways, and so I really I like that. I like that.
I
Wow.
have in my mind some of the music I do. If I all of a sudden when I finish the song, I see a video in my head, then in my mind I got something. And this song I already had a video visioned in my head.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever seen this is back in the day. Michael Jackson did a video called "Blood on the Dance Floor." It was just him. He had on a red jacket, and well, he always had a red jacket,
Hmm.
but he had like a suit on, and it was that type of vibe, and it was just it was like a
Different.
club, yeah,
Okay.
real nice. So
Okay.
that's what I'm
Well,
thinking.
yeah, that
Something like
sounds fun. And then that sounds like something that I would definitely enjoy and watch. 'Cause sounds good. Nothing all extreme, but I mean, doing it out of town. And I know a lot of people are now trying to venture off and do at least part of their videos somewhere else and
Yeah.
kind of chop them and make them look still like we here, but then also do that
Well,
away
would have
look.
been perfect, but they closed down. Would have been Latin Palace. If it
Oh,
was still open, that would have been ideal.
wow.
But, hey,
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that would have been a nice little
yeah.
spot. Wow. We got a couple other little places that I think you might like here in Maryland, in Baltimore,
I'm gonna have to
Maryland.
do it soon before it starts getting cold. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it here. I gotta do
Okay.
it soon. So,
Yeah. Right. That's true.
yeah,
Because you never know what this weather's going to be like in the fall and
I
all that
got you.
good stuff. So, after the album, besides the video, what do you have coming up? What other things you have coming your
Um,
way?
like I said, we're supposed to be performing again. Myself with Legacy Grooves and Peanut. She's gonna kill me. I keep calling Peanut. Up in Bel Air, Maryland again
Okay.
in October.
Okay.
Possibly working on that as we speak. I may be performing at the African American Festival in Towson. I got somebody working on that for me. Also, the Kente Festival in Annapolis. They got somebody working on that for me as well. So that's the stuff I have possibly going on within the next 2 months.
Okay. Okay.
I'm also supposed to be doing some stuff out of state as well. So,
Okay, that sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. A lot of things lining up, and that's good, especially with the fact you have an album coming out
yeah.
that'll give you opportunity. Are you going to do any hard copies?
Yes, I will do a
Awesome.
few of those.
Awesome.
Also, the song I almost forgot the song Tonight,
Hmm.
as well as another song that I wrote. It's a movie coming out. They're filming now, I think, in Louisiana and in Washington State, called Night of Slaughter. Is a vampire movie. Tonight, and a song I did called March of the Vampires are going to be in this independent film coming out. Yeah.
Wow. So will that independent film be on like Netflix or one of those?
That part I don't. I'm not sure.
You're not sure yet?
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
sure about that. I know they.
Well, let us know because we
Yeah.
will be glad to, promote and let let that be out there because, we have to support our own. And that's when we're independent, it's really makes it a struggle. Not that it's a bad thing, but, being able to promote and have every opportunity for people to be able to hear your music and see your product out there, because I was watching, Orange is the New Black. And when I heard the line dance song in there, I was like, wow. Like had no idea it was going to be in one of the line dance songs. That I can't even think of the name of it, but it was one of the real popular ones. And so when I hear our music in different stuff, it's a good thing. Hear about it's going to be in something. That's wonderful that opportunity has come your way, as far as your music is all.
They asked
And
me if I wanted to be in it, so I told them, I said, "Hey, let me know what I got to do."
right,
So I'm waiting for them
awesome,
whether or not that's going to happen. As well.
awesome. So they haven't started filming yet.
They're supposed to start. If they haven't started yet, they're going to start soon.
Okay,
So it's still a
awesome.
possibility I may have a small role in the movie. We'll see.
That's good. That's even more fun. Oh my goodness, I love acting. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. I love it. So I am excited for you for those opportunities that's coming up. So with all that's going on in our society and our community, in the music field, what do you think? Because I really feel some kind of way with how the streaming numbers go, the financial piece and all. And I just honestly, I feel like you guys work harder now than probably back in the day because it was so much more work to having to do back in the day. Where now things are a little bit, you know, a little bit harder as far as getting the money, the funding behind your music. So what are your thoughts, Joe, Jay Treese, about this whole streaming? Because I'm not feeling a number.
Well, yeah, the numbers. The artists nowadays, they're making their money off of doing shows. There's no real, unless you're one of the big artists, um, making money off of streaming. Streaming is killing the industry.
Mhm.
Prime example, I remember reading an article a couple years ago that Pharrell, for the song "Because I'm Happy,"
Mhm.
he had like something crazy, like 3 or 4 or 5 million streams, and he made maybe more than that. He made $2,500 off of like millions of streams.
Oh my
So I mean,
goodness.
it's
It's
ridiculous.
it's terrible. I really don't like it. And I just feel like because good artists like Jay Esquire and some others that's even I'm just speaking of local people. I'm not even speaking about some other independent artists. And yes, opportunities come for you guys to perform, but I just feel like they look at they looking at people numbers on Facebook and Instagram, and then they make a decision. Well, if they can sell tickets and all those type of things. No, don't get me wrong. Yes, selling tickets is a big thing when you're having certain events. Of
Yeah,
course, you
yeah.
want people to be able to fill the seats because you want to be able to make the money to be able to pay the artist. But to use those numbers, of course, looking at somebody's numbers, when that doesn't mean they could sell really a whole lot of tickets. You could sell a million tickets almost, but just because your numbers on Facebook or you're on Instagram doesn't reflect that, then you get counted out as a possible artist on a nice lineup. May not be a
Yeah.
mainstream lineup, but on a nice lineup of some R&B artists or um mixed level of artists, because sometimes they now mix in R&B with hip hop shows now.
Exactly.
So what is your thought on that whole piece?
Well, like I said, you get, like you said, you get overlooked depending on your numbers. The industry also, they don't do like they used to. At
Right.
one time, like back in the day with Motown, they used to develop artists and they would put in the work to develop these artists. Now the music industry, they don't want to do that. They want you to come to them with already a following, already sold records. They want you to do all the footwork, and the only thing they're going to do is say, here's the money to make me more money.
Right.
So they don't put in the work that the artists have to put in. For me, I'm not even gonna put I've done a lot that was, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the streaming numbers, considering I'm not signed to, I'm my own independent.
Right, you're independent, correct.
Yeah. So I've done a lot as far as I'm concerned, as far as numbers, without anyone's help. But unless it ends up in the millions, major labels probably won't look. And then it's not even that. I don't even know if I would want to go to a major label, because then I have to follow
their guidelines and everything.
Right now, I can pick and choose what I want to do.
So, do you have a website, Judge?
Yeah, it's www.treesemusic.com.
Okay, so can't you stream your own music on your and you make your money yourself? You don't have to fool with not saying you don't want them on the other platforms, but you could stream and make the money directly on your platform.
I could do it that way. I'm also going through I have a not my distribution company, but I'm going through a distribution company to put my music out, to get it worldwide.
Okay.
And they can touch more people than I could myself. Now, since I have it going through them, I help out by promoting myself on Facebook and Instagram and all these other places and pushing it that way. And me doing that, that is how I reach these 50 different countries and doing it, because I end up with friends in 50 different countries and stuff like that. When I started pushing the first or second single, I had probably 100 friends on Facebook, or just friends and family and all that. Once I started pushing my music, and I got a friend from England that was on the radio, and this, that, and this. Next thing I know, within 2 weeks, I went from 100 to 4,000. So it's just a matter of putting in a grind and working.
Absolutely.
And that's how I got the shows and stuff I've been doing. It's just grinding.
And it's work. I mean, as a manager myself and the independent artists, we all have to do our part in being able to, help you guys move forward and grind, and making sure that you have the best, even if you're not under any type of management. If a person is independent, just being on your grind of making sure that your business and everything looks good, and people want to do good, clean business these days. So therefore, having quality product, like your quality music, your music sounds good, your look is good, the whole package is together, and that's what is important today.
I have a lot of people that present me music. They want me to either help them write or be on and stuff like that, and I'm my own worst critic, for one, but two, I'm as my boy Jay that helps me write and stuff.
Right.
So
how's he doing?
How's he doing? In fact, he was in the show Sunday too.
I thought I saw him in the background. I couldn't, but I was looking so fast. But okay, so that was him. Okay, because I wasn't sure if your regular band group was going or not. So I was like, because you didn't say anything, I just saw you going to be at that event Sunday. So I wasn't sure if your people, all of them were coming.
Yeah, everybody was there. It wasn't my event. It's actually for Yolanda. She has a single that came out called "Together in Love."
Okay.
Which wrote the song, and Jay helped write it as well.
Oh, awesome.
So, what was what I was saying now?
We gotta get Jay here with you one day.
He was supposed to be coming. But,
okay.
He had other things he had to do.
Okay.
But the way the music is now, I have people that's what I'm saying. People that want me to help them do stuff, and Jay says this about me, that I can be I'm kind of critical. If it doesn't sound right, it may not be that I don't like the music, because everybody has their own taste in music. I put that aside. To me, is the production and the quality.
Absolutely.
I will eat them up on the quality. If it doesn't sound good, if the vocals sound way in front of the music, or vice versa, it turns me off and I don't listen to it.
Okay, I got you.
I'll listen to everything, but it's just a matter of the quality. Put in the time and stuff to make it sound like something that's really good.
Okay.
The sound wise, production of it.
Awesome. So what would be some advice you would tell an up and coming artist with knowing what you're already doing as an independent artist? And because I know dealing with the record labels and knowing what the background of those are. And as we already know, you got to follow what their guidelines are and what they're requiring you to do. So what would you tell someone who said, I really want to be an artist, but I really don't want to go under a record label, either a major record label where it puts you in a box? So what would you advise them?
To stick to your guns. I mean, there's too many platforms out here to put out your own music, that you can do it yourself. It's just, but you also have to think outside of the box as well. I don't, like I said, I don't fall under anybody's guideline or anybody else's path. I've grabbed stuff from other artists along the way, as far as that people that I looked up to as artists, to implement it in my music. But you got to stick to what's true to you.
Okay.
To the hip hop artists, I would say to them, I don't censor anything. I mean, censorship, you do what you feel, but some of the stuff is like overboard. If you're looking to make that money, you don't have to say the stuff that you're saying. Some of the people say nowadays to put the music out. If you wanted that crossover appeal, or whatever you want to call it, do some stuff that you know that will be played in these different platforms, not just underground.
Right.
So,
correct.
I mean, but there's a lot
correct.
of people making money underground.
That's
a whole
true.
lot of people making money underground and doing shows underground. Because I remember somebody said something to me. This was like 3 or 4 years ago about what's the guy's name? And I'm probably gonna butcher his name. Boogie with a Hoodie or something like that. The rap artist.
Right.
I'm like, who the hell is this? I had no clue who he was.
Right.
And then I kept hearing more about him. Then recently, within the last couple of months, I could see his videos, and I was like, oh, okay. But it was all underground.
Okay.
So there's money to be made.
Yeah, my goddaughter, she's very underground as well, and so and so she's like, everybody's like, y'all are so different. I'm like, but that's my child, so you kind of like just gotta, you still support them and all that stuff. When I go to that stuff, I have to be in a certain mindset. Like I just tune, like some stuff you just kind of like tune in and tune out, and you just there for the moment of supporting your child. And so it's a lot to that, but it's fun for them. So that's, as long as they're getting enjoyment and what they need, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I can't hit them on their hustle. They definitely got the hustle.
I know that's right. So right now, give everybody some information on where they can find your music. And we don't have an exact date yet, but once you give me the date, we'll definitely announce that it's coming out. But give people information on where they can find your music and how they can get in touch with you for an event, or if anything like that is coming up.
Like I said, I have a website, which is www.treece, that's TREECE music.com. I'll post stuff on there as far as shows and stuff that I'm going to be doing. You also can find me on Facebook at Joel Treece. Then I'm on Instagram, the same thing, Joel Treece. Music-wise, you can find it on, like I said, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere they're streaming music or buying music worldwide. You can find it. It's all over the place.
Okay. So Joel Treece, let's go into our community world right now and talk some stuff, some hot stuff. So what was your thoughts on what 45 said a couple weeks ago? We know that it was a distraction comment and things of that nature, and we do know some of it has some validity to it, but as a whole, I don't see that as the whole Baltimore or the whole Maryland or any of that. So what was your thoughts when you first heard him say what he said?
That was him just taking a shot because he didn't know what else to say. That's all it is. Because you show me any American, any city in any place in the world, they're going to have their good parts and bad parts. Some worse than others, some better than others. But it's all around the world the same. I've seen, because I've traveled all over the place. I think one of the worst ghettos, if you want to call it, or hoods, or whatever you want to say, I saw over in Europe. So that's what I'm saying. So there's those all over the place. He's real thin-skinned, and he can't take anyone talking bad about him. So his attack at Baltimore was him actually trying to get back at Elijah Cummings.
Absolutely.
Because if he was thinking, which he doesn't think when he speaks, he'd have thought about his son-in-law owning property in these areas that he was talking about.
Absolutely.
So it's like I said, like you said, it's a distraction. And I look at it this way: there's a lot of people from Baltimore that because I'm like I said, I watch the news all the time. I'm on Facebook all the time, and I get into discussions or arguments, or whatever you want to call them, a little bit more than I should.
Debates.
Yeah, a little bit more than I should on Facebook and with other people about him. But people that are from Baltimore, the ones that say, well, he's speaking the truth and this, that, and this. He may be speaking the truth on some aspect of it, but it's like this: growing up or in your family, you have somebody in your family that's jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in your family know this person jacked up, and y'all tease them and this, that, and this. But let someone from outside of the family come in.
Oh, y'all ready to fight?
Exactly.
They ready to fight.
And that's how it should be about.
And
Baltimore.
that's how it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
regardless, it's a defense thing. When I was traveling a lot more, the minute you said you was from Baltimore, the first thing people always said was The Wire and different things like that. So you had to come on the defense. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like where The Wire was filmed, down in that Harlem Avenue, all that. I grew up in those areas. Those are the streets I ran, growing up. So, yeah, you become defensive for those things in your life. But it was just like, I've been just trying to get different people views because, as most people was like, well, it is true. But you ever been outside of Baltimore to know that there are rats in other cities?
Exactly.
Like I've traveled a lot and I've seen a whole lot. In Africa and all them places, I done seen these things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you've seen, it's not like Baltimore is the only place that carry a rat. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just like, But that spoke volume as well because the White House ain't but 45 minutes away. And you don't think there's no rats out there?
If you go, there's one in the White House. But
Right.
If you go a couple blocks from the White House, you'll see it different. Anytime they show DC, they typically show where the monument is, the Smithsonian.
Always.
But you go a couple blocks either way,
you're in a whole nother place.
Exactly.
And my thing was, he wanted to make a big deal about that, but I had to think back when they built them Trump Towers and all that stuff up in Atlantic City. And once you came outside the Atlantic City, them places was ratchet, like literally a mess. People were living where they were living, and it was just like, oh my gosh, how y'all can have all this fanciness with the hotels and everything, and then the house, like all the homes and the everything around it was just horrible.
Exactly. And then he made a statement about all the money that they sent into Baltimore and tried to basically put it all on Elijah Cummings.
Correct.
We sent you billions of dollars and blah blah blah. I end up reading. I do a lot of reading. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. The money that came into Maryland through the governor.
Correct.
So then once the money comes
disseminated,
in, it's dispersed to where it needs to go. So the billions of dollars he's talking, it wasn't billions, it was millions, but it wasn't billions. They sent some money to the schools, and they sent it to here, then they sent it to here, and then what's left over would go into wherever it needs to go into Baltimore. So the money that he's saying that we supposedly got, we didn't get. So, but it's just his way of deflecting and making himself look good. So.
Well, lately I've been seeing how they talking about this lottery thing and all this money we've made off the lottery. And, lottery was supposed to be going towards a lot of our schools and things of that nature. So what are your thoughts on that? Because honestly, we have not seen any change.
You have the Maryland lottery that's just for Maryland, but then you have the Powerball and all those other ones that's other states are involved.
Right.
So
absolutely.
That money is split up with these other
absolutely.
Other so they can say that's one of the reasons.
But they're saying Maryland itself got over a certain $1 billion worth of lottery. And again, we did not see, and it was supposed to be going towards the education. So again, we have still not seen any change in our educational system.
But see, it goes to Maryland in general, not just Baltimore. So you have other little cities within Maryland itself that it has to be spread out. Now Baltimore needs more. Now what they sent to Baltimore, I have no clue.
Right.
And what they I guess they have stuff that they had to put in as priority that they send money to at first, and then they trickle it down. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, no matter what we do, somebody's not going to be happy. I mean, if they took the money and put it all in Baltimore, then you're going to have all these other counties and stuff that's like, well, we need this, that, and this. So I don't know.
So did you read about the activists from Philly? Did you read about that article? I did post that earlier today. He was an activist, community activist in Philly, 57 years old, arrested for armed robbery, assault charges in Baltimore.
I did see that. I didn't read it. I remember seeing the caption.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he had been a robber many years ago,
Mm.
cleaned his life up, became a community activist. I want to say that the man had a mental breakdown. I want to believe that. I don't know, Joe Trees. Honestly, unless he was just afraid of success, because people will do stuff to sabotage themselves and they're who they are. But to come all the way to Baltimore, and I don't know why they always rob at Charles Street Bank of America, but that's what it seemed like they go. But to rob a bank and then go back to Philly and then turn yourself in, I just wonder if it was more mental illness.
I mean, it could be. I'm not sure what his struggles are, if there are any. It could be a mental breakdown. I
just want to believe that it was a mental breakdown.
But it couldn't have been too mental, considering he left Philly and came here to do it and went back to Philly, so he knew what he was doing. So it could have been too mental.
I'm just saying, it's like, you just wonder, but I've seen people sabotage themselves. I've seen it. But again, all of it still kind of stem with a mental breakdown in the midst of it.
It could, yeah.
In the midst of it all at some point. And so I was just like, I just could not believe he did that. Like, why would you do that, to yourself, let alone you look facing going to jail for a long time now because you had a gun, he got away. Granted, you may have turned everything back in, but again.
Yeah. Well, you also think that as far as mental breakdowns, what's the football player, Hernandez?
Right.
He had everything.
Everything.
And he did all this dumb stuff on the side, and look what happened to him.
Right.
So it could be
because they get into this thing where they can't let it go. Like I had a couple family members, they served time in jail, came out, got their life together, and they're back in jail for the rest of their life, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, the thing was, like, when I say they got themselves together, like they really had good careers going for themselves, but they couldn't let that lifestyle.
Well, like someone, I can't remember who said it. Some people try to be loyal to the streets, but the streets aren't loyal to you.
Right.
So they have to figure out where to break the cycle at and look out for themselves or look out for their families in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that you go back into that life and you end up back in jail or wherever or dead, what good are you doing your family now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you think about the gentleman yesterday with the what was it? He was in Philly and had all the hostages and the police officer, over a warrant. I mean, that's what they're saying.
That may be a mental too. Because think about it, the young lady here in Baltimore, was it last year before last,
mm-hmm.
up in Randallstown?
Randallstown, Owensville, something like that.
Yeah, it was Randallstown. Carrie Chill Apartments.
Right.
They were going to serve her a warrant when all that happened. So
but all this artillery they be having in their house, Joe. I'm just like,
I was in the military. For 10 years. When it comes to weapons, I think that people should have weapons to protect themselves.
Okay, I'm not against that.
I have nothing against that. I mean, if you have a pistol and you have a rifle for hunting, more power to you. But for you to have stuff that the military and the police force have, that makes no sense to me.
But how are they getting them though, Joe? Like,
because it's easy to get. It's real easy for people to get, and and a lot of people shouldn't be getting the things that they get. I'm one of the firm believers that there should be there should be some kind of way to control it. One, two, if you have which they're talking about now because Trump wants to talk about it. If you have a mental illness, you shouldn't be able to get a weapon. Anytime that you're on here's what's crazy. You could be on the terrorist watch list or no-fly list. You can't fly on a plane. They're watching you because they think you're a terrorist, but you can buy a gun. Makes no sense. It makes no sense.
I thought if you were on that list, you could not.
No, yes, you can.
Wow, you
can look it
taught
up.
me
You
something.
can
You
look it up.
taught me something. I ain't disputing you. I am not
It's
disputing you on that
crazy.
because just the fact that we have this thing where I still cannot believe we can give somebody a gun who has mental illness. That
Yeah.
bothers me. And being a person who's been through the training,
Yeah.
been through the whole, I'm sitting up here like, I'm pretty much together in here. And you want to give me a hard time. But you'll give somebody who mentally ill.
Well, that's the whole thing now. President Obama put forth a bill to try to, if you had a mental illness, you'll be denied. He put that bill out there to try to get it passed. He left office. Trump came in, like, Obama did this? Nope. And he took it back off the table. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to bring it back. But he's going to bring it back now and act like he's the one that came up with it. I guarantee you. But he's also put.
I didn't know he wanted to bring it back.
He's talking about we need to look further into mental illness and people with mental illnesses being able to get guns, better background checks, and that's one of the things. But we've been talking about this for years. But now, because this is happening on his watch and it makes him look good, and it's coming up on a election year, now he's going to try to push those forward. But he's also tying those in with the immigration stuff too. So he's trying to get 2 for 1, and it's going to be a mess.
So Joel, okay, so you're saying that they can buy these guns. My thing is, don't you need to have certain credentials to be able to buy some of those type of guns?
I know they were supposed to have been taking the assault rifles. You're not supposed to be able to buy those, but there's always ways around everything. As far as the background checks, I think they do a background check to a certain point, but they want to get one that's even deeper, and because the ones they do now, people with mental illnesses are still able to get guns. That's why they're saying now that all these people, that these mass shootings are mentally unstable and blah blah blah, and they
legally have guns. They legally have a gun.
Because you think about it, a lot of the time they end up interviewing some of the family members or friends. They'll say, well, they did this before and blah blah blah. He was on this type of medicine and blah, but they were still able to get a gun. So it's crazy.
Wow. I still, when they said that he took that off the plate of being able to deal with the whole mental illness, we don't even have mental illness under control yet. I just believe we have a lot of work to do. When we were doing the hug, don't shoot, and just sitting, I sat, like, just before we had it that Saturday, Joel, I was sitting, my corner was north in Milton. And so one day and because I have tinted out windows, I just sat in my truck and I just watched. And I just watched the people, and as my girlfriend and I both said, regardless, neither one of us can believe anybody just woke up one day and said, I want to be a drug addict. I want to be a prostitute. I want to be, those things. I don't believe they woke up that way. And the fact that the drug addiction and the homelessness and the issues that a lot of people have, and the mental illness that plagues, because some people, mental illness didn't just start for some people, and some does. It just like gets triggered sometimes. It all depends. It changes. Because I know a friend of my mom's, and he was 60 some years old when they discovered I think he was almost 70, Joe, and they ended up having to put him in an institution for mental instability. And this man lived a whole full life. We don't know what triggered it, what caused him to end up in the space that he ended up in, that he ended up literally just like losing it. And so, like I said, I was sitting there just watching, and you could tell, like, you could just watch some people, not just with the drug addiction, but their mental stability was just so off, and just watching how their behaviors were. And it's just like, man, how can we really get a grip on helping people with this mental illness?
It trips me out, guys. I sit back and think about, like, when I was a kid and growing up in here in Maryland. I'm originally from North Carolina, but between North Carolina and here, things have progressively gotten worse. I remember, and I said this to somebody, they had to think about it. I was like, yeah, you're right. I know, at least in my family and the community where I grew up at, a lot of black families, they'll have that one cousin, uncle, whatever, that has
Absolutely.
something wrong with them, but they don't acknowledge it. That'll be that cousin that sits in that back room in the back of the house. But everybody knows them, but that's where they stay at. As far as drug addiction and all that, I'm going to call it for what it is. This whole thing with the opioids and all that, the only reason it's an epidemic now is because Chad and Buffy are doing it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I mean, this stuff has been going on for forever, but now that it's fallen into the white communities, now it's a problem. If it stayed in the inner city, you wouldn't. I guarantee you they wouldn't put that much emphasis on it, because now the president and everybody else is opioid addiction and epidemic and blah blah blah. It was the same thing with cocaine and crack. There was a cocaine thing that was going on. But they really didn't say too much about it. But then the difference between crack and cocaine isn't really a difference. It's just basically the same thing.
Right.
But they didn't care about the crack part that was affecting the inner cities. When the cocaine started going into the white neighborhoods and this, that, and this, then it became a problem.
But Joel, it was all. I thought it was. Well, I'm just going to speak for what I've experienced and seen. There's always been in their community, is just on a different level of how it was in the community.
But they never really publicized it and said it was.
No, epidemic. It was not. No.
Now when it got bad with like the opioids and kids are dying and this, that, and this, then it's epidemic. It's the same thing. It's just the way it's labeled. It's just the same thing with like we were talking earlier about the mass shootings. What's the difference between Jim Bob shooting up whatever that was going on, mass shooting, and then you have Alam that does it. Right. That's a terrorist, but this isn't a terrorist. Alam kills 2 people. Jim Bob kills 20, but Jim Bob's not a terrorist. He's just he has mental illness.
And that's what's killing me. Like now
just the way they label it.
That's how they label it. And just like I don't know if you saw that posting. I think I posted it. I shared somebody post where they were talking about how the lack of the father in the other community, like the lack of the father has always been an issue, but the lack of the father in the other communities.
That one mass shooter, they've said.
Yes.
I saw
I'm sitting up here like, really? Oh, it's now because the lack of the father.
Exactly. That's what I said. It's the way they label and the way they do things.
And we gotta get why is it now? We're gonna make this a big thing because it's in the other community.
Exactly.
But we've had the lack of father, and we've needed the fathers on board. Excuse me. We needed the fathers on board all these years to help our communities. So you're saying just because now that's why he created this young man decided to do this mass shooting due to the fact that his father wasn't there?
Like I said, it's labels. It's labels. It's always been there from the black on black crime label. Because if you look at statistics, it's actually not even black on black crime. It's actually people end up killing or hurting people that they're in the communities with. 80, what was it, 90%, 95%, somewhere around there, between 80 and 90% of white people kill white people because they're in a close proximity of each other. Same thing with Hispanic and black and all that, but they don't tell those numbers.
They talk about so much black on black crime, but what about the other nationalities?
But those things happen,
right?
They hone in on one community because they want that community to be the bad guy, I guess you want to put it. But like I said, it's all about labels.
Right.
They have to keep stuff in certain orders. This is just my opinion. It's not,
absolutely.
But it's crazy.
So what do you think we can do as a whole, as a community? What do you think we can do to make Baltimore better? What are some things you feel we could do to improve upon Baltimore?
I don't know. I mean, everybody says the same thing. Support the community and buy into the community and do this, but as much as you say that, then you'll have some outside element or within the same community jealousy that tears it apart. So I don't know what can help bring it together. I mean,
what do you think we can do to help bring the community, that part, like you said, the jealousy, the envy, what do you think we can do to help
I don't know. I mean, I can't hate on you. This is just me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate on the other person because they have a stronger hustle or a stronger drive than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I can do is turn around, look at myself, go, okay,
what can I do differently?
Do different to get what he's doing.
Right.
I can't sit here and worry about what he's doing and tearing him down, because I'm sitting here worried about him tearing him down. I'm not moving. I'm still looking at him, and he's still getting what he's getting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still stagnant.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it's just a matter of, I guess, educating people, letting them know, look, here are the different avenues you can go to get what you need to get, or the education you need to get to do better. But it's up to the individual to make a change within themselves.
Correct.
Like, go back to Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror.
Right. Wow.
That's where you got to start. So
right.
If I can preach all day to someone, if they don't see within themselves the change, I can't change them.
Right.
No one can change. They
Absolutely.
change
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just so many people have so many opinions. Hey, Bruce. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. He said that's real. And true, we can't change people, but I just feel like we got to start somewhere to help try to begin to help them with a different mindset, because their mindsets have changed, that our communities have gotten worse to me.
But you know what it is? It's not, well, we're concentrating on our community, but I think it's just the human community in general.
But that's what I'm speaking of, the human community, because I can't just say, because when I look at Bel Air Road, it's a whole lot of diversity. So you can't even say it's just one community now. Like, you see Hispanics, you see Caucasians, and you see African Americans all up and down here. And the few Indians you may see, but not as many in this area to me. On the upper end, you may see some more of them, but down on this end, you are bound to see those three communities heavily.
It's I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just the generations, because now the kids nowadays, and this is again my opinion, they think they're entitled. They don't know the hustle of getting out and really doing a hard days of work and being a prime example. My oldest son, he wanted me to get him a car one time, and I'm like, I'm not buying you a car. I said, if you want a car, you work towards getting you one. I'll help you once I see that you're going to do it, but you'll appreciate this more when you work hard yourself and you do it yourself. If I give this to you, you're not going to know how it is to get out and do this and then sit back and go, hey, this is my car. I did this. I didn't. You just go, yeah, my dad gave me this.
And see, I did that. My mommy gave me a car, but I took care of it. And I was a hustler. She can't say that I didn't do my part, even though she gave me a car. But again, the generations are different. So like, you're right. In this generation, they're not going to feel that way. They're going to feel different.
I see a lot of prime example. Things, as much as things have changed, things stay the same. So the struggle and the racism and stuff that is going on now, it's here. It hasn't gone anywhere. But I can say this: if you look at the films and stuff from the 50s it's nowhere near how it was then. So those are our grandfathers and great grandfathers and great grandfathers and mothers. They had to hustle. They had to struggle. They had to go through stuff that kids nowadays didn't have to go through.
Right.
So for them to have the attitude some of them have nowadays makes no sense to me.
Don't want to work in the businesses, the family businesses and things like that. Because when we were growing up, you had to. My mom and them, they worked, and my grandfather had his own gas station and things like that. And that was actually my father's father. She worked in his cleaners and all those different things. So he was like, we worked hard growing up, but this generation don't want to work hard.
See,
it's wow.
And the attitude of we growing up, with your elders, you didn't disrespect someone older than you.
Yeah, I'm not.
I remember times that I got in trouble. My neighbor saw me whip my butt, told my mother she whipped your butt.
Right. And that's what I was talking about, Joel. The other day to a young lady, I said to her, that community help or that community, that village,
Yeah,
village
exactly.
growing up, because the teacher, if the teacher got you and the paddle, I mean, you know, people got into this thing, don't say nothing to my
Yeah,
child,
yeah,
even
exactly.
like in church and stuff. Like when we were growing up, it wasn't no asking you what you do. Oh, so and so needs you to do the scripture, and you did the scripture. You ain't get told, oh, let me go ask. Like my girlfriend said, oh, let me ask who? Like that just didn't happen when we were growing up. They told you, oh, you gonna do the scriptures tomorrow, you gonna do the Sunday, you gonna do the prayer, you gonna do. That's what it was when we were growing up.
Man.
You know, so it's just such a difference. So Bruce said the pastors of these churches have to come outside. I'm not sure what that statement is referencing, because I just feel like, you know, we want to come for the churches, but really people on, you know, the church, and I can't speak for every church. Don't get caught up. Everybody want to call anything bigger than a storefront church as a mega church. Every church ain't a mega church, and just because you see them big facilities, don't mean they got that big money up in there either all the time.
Don't mean they're preaching the word that need to be preached either.
Absolutely.
I had that conversation with somebody years ago, and they were talking about if they had a problem. I asked them this. I said, if you have this preacher that's in this little church,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it may be 20 people in his church, and he's driving his hoopty
Mm-hmm.
back and forth to church. Then you have this other preacher that's at this mega church,
Mm-hmm.
pulls up in a Bentley and all that. And they were saying that's how they want their pastor. I said, but this little guy that's only driving this little putt hoopty, you know, he's not making any money off of it. He's doing it for the believing in the word. How do you know that this guy in this big mega church isn't just doing it for the dollars? And myself, I would probably tend to lean more towards that person I know that's doing it from the heart and doing it for the reason.
I don't get caught up on the vehicles, you know, right? I don't get caught up. For me, I don't get caught up on the vehicles that people drive, because honestly, ain't nobody spending my money and taking care of me. So therefore, I'm gonna drive what I want to drive regardless. And I feel like if a pastor works and he gets a salary from the church, he's allowed to buy whatever he wants for as a vehicle. That's just my opinion. I feel like if a pastor, if whatever their salary is, they will decide they want to buy themselves a Bentley, they want to buy themselves a Mercedes, they want to buy themselves a Maybach, whatever they want to buy, and it's coming out their home, their bills, whatever, then that's their business. But I don't think that should stop. That's not saying that a person is not preaching the word, because I will want to see a pastor that grows. I don't want to see a pastor that's still stagnant. Now, if you here 20 years been preaching and you still in a stagnant place, I gotta question that, because I know God wants us to grow. I believe he wants us to grow. And so I can't see a pastor 20 years, you still stagnant in the same place. I feel like your church should grow at some point. It may not be no mega church, but we shouldn't still be seeing the same look from 20 years ago. I just don't feel we should see that.
No, but I have a thing that when is it about business? When is it more about business than it is about the word that you're putting out there?
When you say business, what do you mean?
Business, just
the church, mean
just business, not
because there's a lot of honestly, people going to church, but everybody ain't living by the word or what the word say. So therefore,
preaching in the church, not living by the word.
Absolutely.
That's the point I'm
but
making.
When I say that, I'm speaking of, okay, we going to church. We have the word says we should be tithing. And then we have people who literally don't tithe. They go to church every Sunday, but they're not tithing. And then you got to wonder, you know, how the church is still managing. It's not always easy to manage and continue to the church to be able to manage without the funds. I know the struggles. I've worked on this different sides of ministry and things of that nature. And if the money don't come in the church, bills, it will suffer in the church. And therefore, when you have I'm not even talking about no big church. I'm talking about even just a small church. My great grandfather was a pastor, and it was a small church, Joel. And it was like the church stayed stagnant because literally, if my great grandfather didn't have his own stuff, like he had his own real estate business, he had his own. If he didn't have all that church would not have been able to survive. It would not have been able to survive like it did. Mm-hmm. It survived because he, one, never really took a salary because he had his own business stuff going on. Okay. But the church had to grow And the only way the church is going to grow, and again, like I said, it was a small church, so the church probably about as big as you know what I'm saying. It did have up and down stairs and stuff like that, but again, it did not. It was not surviving on its own. Let me say that. Back when he was pastoring, he's dead now. I don't know. I mean, I don't go there. I don't know how things are running there now, but I know when we were growing up, it was a struggle. It was a major struggle, and he was. The good thing was my great grandfather was very self-employed, so he had his own real estate stuff going on. He had his own other stuff going on. So, um, owning homes, renting homes, all that kind of stuff. So he always had income coming in. But again, if it was not for that, I don't think the church would have been able to survive.
Because I'm going back to in the day, like I said, from North Carolina,
Right.
a small community church.
Well, that's what he is, right?
Right. That those because within the last 20 years is when the big mega churches started popping up, or maybe a little bit longer than
well,
that.
Who clarifies as a mega church?
It just, I guess, once you can get on,
once you every church, because you got some preachers that are on TV that aren't, because like my grandfather, he used to do a radio broadcast back in the day. My great grandfather, he did a radio broadcast. We went no that I told you it was a little storefront church. So this is back in the day. So of course it wasn't hard to get radio broadcasts back then. Now you gotta have a following and all that kind of stuff, and then you gotta be able to pay to be on. Your church has to be able to pay to be on that, to do that that ministry on online. I mean, not online, on the networks or whatever. But I just feel like the churches are getting, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying every church is in their right standing and doing what they need to do, because I can't speak for every church, but I just feel like we got to stop wanting to beat up the church, and when I say beat up the church, put the church at fault for why some of our communities are the way they are. Because
same thing with schools.
Yeah, I just feel like you have good teachers, you have good pastors, but you have people who are not doing what their part either. Because I have girlfriends who are teachers. I literally have had people ask me to come back to teaching, Joel. And it was just like, no, my life doesn't want that in this point in time in my life. One, I would have to go back to school to take care of some other things in order to go back to that. But teaching, you have good teachers in these schools, and unfortunately, because of the lack of respect in even some of the homes, that's why the kids are the way they are in the classrooms.
And you have a lot of, as they say, they've been saying a long time, kids having kids. So
right,
you have a 13-year-old, 14-year-old having a kid. By the time that kid gets their age, they're only 30 years old. So they're still trying to club and this, that, and this, and they have that still have that kid mentality. So that's where the disrespect will come in, and blah, blah, blah. Don't you touch my kid, don't you blah, blah. It's like I said, it's getting worse instead of getting better.
Right. And that's the thing. I was telling someone, I believe we need to do family mentoring. We say individual mentoring, people being a mentor to somebody and things like that. I think we need family mentoring, because families are really struggling with, they don't come up with people like the way we came up. The respect in the home, the respect of your elders, when you can curse around these elderly people and disrespect. Like when I was growing up, you just didn't say certain things. You didn't, when the elderly person walked by, you respected them. If you walked past the church, you didn't, disrespect the church. You didn't curse. You didn't, but people just.
It's crazy. I remember a couple of months ago, I was at a playground. It was these probably about six boys, probably ages 12 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm standing probably a good 10, 15 feet away from them. They cursed up a storm like I wasn't even standing there.
Right.
They didn't care that I was standing there.
Right.
So I'm like, and then it was a woman came and had her little daughters out there, and I was waiting for them to keep on saying what they were saying around these little girls, because then I was going to say something to them.
Right.
And then I knew if I said something to them, I'd get ready, because it's going to be a fight.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do it when the girls were around. I don't know what happened. They just stopped. As
Right.
soon as the girls had gone, they went right back in. Like
wow.
Wow. Like I said, the oldest one's probably 15.
Wow.
So
wow.
It was crazy. And the stuff they were saying was really, I was in the military, and everything was nothing was sacred when I was in the military. You cussed up a storm and talked about everything. But the stuff these kids were saying, they made me blush. And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
No respect.
Wow. None whatsoever. Oh my goodness. It's just been, watching the community as a whole, just wondering what can we do? How can we begin to help change the mindsets of people again, to see things differently? I just been praying and asking God, really, what can we do? Like, what can we as a community? Because everybody, I keep bringing different guests on, and the first thing they all say, Joel, is we need more men, we need more men, and we need more men. And it's like, wow, okay, well, we got men that we want to put in these different, everybody wants to start their own organization, but I'm like, when can we just kind of collab and bring the organizations all together and maybe make something work? Instead of you got 3 people here, 5 people here, 4 people here, 2 people here, 1 person there, 5, 10 people here. And why can't we just bring all those together?
If they're all on the same sheet of music and all preaching or talking about the same thing, you would think it would be easier to bring them together.
Right.
But that's not how it works now for some reason. Not sure why, but it's just the way things are now.
Yeah. And that's
the thing about this also. Think about back in the 50s and the 60s, you had these civil rights leaders.
Right.
Who do we have now? I had this discussion with someone about a week ago. You have people in the black community that beat up on, I forget his name that quick. The Reverend.
Oh, Sharpton.
They beat up on him. They beat up on, and I'm not saying I'm a fan of his or not a fan of his. They beat up on him. They beat up on Jesse Jackson, blah, blah, blah. But who do we have now that when the stuff that's going on, like when the stuff
I felt like nobody came to the defense of Baltimore other than the few people here, politicians here. But I felt like somebody like Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson. Yeah, he did. Yeah. I'm saying on their level, those type of activists, all of them should have been out. Voice.
There's the only when the people think about.
I only saw Al Sharpton. I can't speak about no other ones.
Exactly, but when people think about these civil rights leaders and activists or whatever, the 2 names that come up every time: Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. If there's other ones, I don't know who they are. That's just me personally. I don't know who they are. But back in the day, you had all the Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. You had all these people that helped bring us to where we are now. Now that we're here, we don't have.
Who's going to keep us here? Exactly. Like keep us in these places.
Yeah, we don't have that type of person. You have little people here and there that you're here to do stuff, but not on that. It's almost to the point, like I think people think we don't need it anymore because we've
arrived or something.
Yeah, we've arrived to a point, but it's still pockets of stuff that have to be discussed, and we need representation to represent to rep us in these other platforms that we can't get to.
Correct.
So you can't knock. I don't know Al Sharpton personally. I don't know what he's about. I don't know about people call him crook and this, that, and this. But I know when.
But you know what, Joel? They've always called him that, even back in the day when and that's just what I've heard. Even when Martin Luther King was alive, they always called him that. So my thing is it because of the way he looked? Is it the way he wears hair? Is it, because, the men that they were slicksters, the ones that wore the long hair or the relaxed hair and stuff like that. So are you basing it on what he looked like? Because as one of the preachers put on Facebook the other day, you want to be mad with people or dislike a person because of what you heard.
Exactly.
But are you looking at the credentials of what this person has behind it and has done? I'm not saying that he's done everything and he's, the cream of the crop of all things that needed to be done, but I know he's made a difference in some of our communities. He and Jesse Jackson both, but I just feel like, are we raising up new ones like them?
Like I said,
I don't
think we are.
I don't think we're raising up new people in the capacity of the civil rights and leading us in a different direction. I just feel like we've kind of fell on the wayside with that.
That it would be easier now because you have these different platforms to speak. Back then,
we didn't have nothing.
Exactly, unless you got on television, the major 3, ABC, NBC, or ABC or NBC. I don't think CBS was around then. You got on those networks. you can hang it up.
Right.
And
you had that one radio station, y'all had to
exactly.
hope the antenna was sitting right and
Exactly.
you could get her, stuff like that. And you're right, Joe, that's like where can we even begin to, hopefully have, because, God forbid, when they do close their eyes, who are going to be out, you do have a Maxine Waters who still fight for us, but again, she's never really been a civil rights person. She just fought for our community as a whole.
Well, like I said, this civil, because I don't know how I should put this way. Civil rights aren't they're still bad as far as civil rights being messed up, but you think about it, 53 years ago, Black people just got the right to vote. So, which wasn't that long ago.
No.
People keep forgetting. That's
what they failed to realize. That's why
yeah.
I was like, why? Even if you did, I'm not asking you to vote for who I voted for, but the fact that you had the right to.
Yeah.
Why not use that privilege? Whether it's whoever you choose and I choose is two different things. It doesn't matter to me. But don't miss out on the opportunity that you've been blessed with the option to vote. I have never missed voting, ever.
Me either.
So my mom and them taught, well, before my mom and them even taught us, I was taught the rights of voting because that's what they taught us. And then they began to change all that in these school systems and everything. But I just feel like we need to revisit that.
Yeah. But the point I was making was that, like I said, it wasn't that long ago that we got the right to vote. So the civil rights movement, I think a lot of people figured once that happened and we got those rights, there was no need for a civil rights movement or a civil rights leader anymore. So you still have the ones that were still the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons and a couple other ones that were there. And then you end up having Elijah Cummings and all of them end up in Washington. So now we've made it. We don't need these people anymore. That's my opinion. But like you said, once they close their eyes and the way things have been going, then who's going to represent us and have our backs in these places?
Right.
So, I mean, you have, and a lot of people, and this goes to other communities, they believe that civil rights is dead. There's no need. There's no racism and all that because President Obama became president. So that proves that that America has moved forward and all that. But they don't look at all the other stuff that happened when he became president. But I believe, like I said, I believe that they think this.
Wow.
So, I mean.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy that they would think because he became president that we don't.
There was somebody, I'm trying to think who it was. There was somebody in, I don't know if it was Congress or the Senate said there's no racism. We elected Obama. I can't remember who it was that said it. This was
literally somebody said that, Joe. Oh my gosh.
I can't remember who it was. I remember seeing it on CNN or MSNBC, but someone, a congressman or a senator or somebody made that
because we elected him. That means racism is over.
Exactly.
But you have people making the comments that they make even in, so that's not racism with those comments that they're making. They're saying
they don't see this. Look at the stuff that Trump has been saying.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of people don't think that he's being racist.
Really?
He told the what do they call them? The 4 women, they got the squad. When he told them to go back to the countries they came from. They don't think that was racist. So I mean, so it's their perspective. A lot of people believe or have the misinterpretation of, no, they believe that if it doesn't happen in their community, they don't see it, it doesn't exist.
Wow. And that's true. I've heard that.
Yeah. So I mean, I can say this is racist and this is going on. The police are doing this to these people and blah, blah, blah. And they'll go, no, they're just doing their job. I never seen this, so it can't be happening.
And I'm gonna tell you when I heard it, Joe, was when 45 decided he was going to get rid of the health insurance. And you know how the other communities didn't care at first until it was affecting some of their family members. And then people wanted to see, oh, wait a minute, the other communities I'm speaking of, like we knew it was going to affect our community, but the other communities then was like, wow, this is affecting us. Yeah. So then you started seeing these rallies of other nationalities who were, in a situation that they weren't going to have health insurance and they weren't going to have the Obamacare and all those different things. And it was like, oh, now that is affecting your community, we see it in a different light. Exactly. So, oh wow, I was just thinking about when when you said some things aren't racism, but Samuel Jackson, I don't know if you remember when he made some comments about Trump, and somebody said that a couple people in the media was saying how they were not going to support his movie because he keep making all these comments about Trump. And Samuel Jackson said, well, I already cashed the check when whatever that movie was. I don't even remember the name of the movie, but it was just like, wow, you again, because you're mad because he's making comments about Trump. Well, some of y'all made comments about President Obama.
Oh, they completely forget about all the stuff that President Obama went through before he became president. Before he became president, it wasn't that bad because a lot of people didn't think he was going to win. But once he became president, they'd already said, and I forgot, was Mitch McConnell, one of them, that said they're going to make sure they do everything in their power to make sure he's a one-term president. So this started there. And you think about this also, when he became president, all of a sudden, this Tea Party popped up. Since he's been out of office, you've heard about the Tea Party since he's been out of office? Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. And that was the first time I really kind of like really was trying to figure out, when did this all come about? Like, and I was trying to figure out, did I miss something somewhere along the line? Because I try to stay pretty current and stay up on the current events and stay up on those type of things. But when that came about, I was like, oh, wow, this is different. Okay. And so I just, people in their ways of racism, and it's ever changing. And so what you may think is racism or not racism can be racism. And I just say people have to be very careful of what they say and how they say things to individuals, whether it be one-on-one, even with your own race, because I think we get even the more lack of respect because of how we talk to one another.
And anybody that knows me knows not to, I'll say the N-word.
The N-word, right.
They know not to use the N-word towards me because I don't use it.
I don't like it either.
I couldn't even tell you if I ever said it. I could really tell you the truth. But to me, and I've heard the thing that we've taken the word back and turned it around to make it something positive. And I'm like, I understand that, but I put this towards somebody one day. I said, okay. I said, you have a guy that's a friend of yours. You grew up together. I said, you two have known each other since you were 3 years old. You call his mother mom. He calls your mother mom. This person ends up being another race. He's white. So this is your brother from another mother. This is your family. And then you have some guy that you met. You went to school with him. You only know him about 4 or 5 years, and he's black. And the black guy ends up saying N-word this to you, blah blah blah, this that and this. He's like, you my blah 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 blah. And then the white friend of yours that's your brother. That you look at him like he's your blood. He says the exact same thing. How do you know which one is using as a derogatory? This is your so-called blood, the white dude. But 9 times out of 10 people gonna jump on the white dude because he said it. But that's your boy. That's your family. It doesn't make it so. Like
I don't even want none of it said. When they came up with this new thing, everybody want to call each other "Hey B" and all that stuff. It was fighting words when I was growing up, and it's still fighting words today, Joe. And so you cannot sit up here and call me that in a endearment way to me. It's not endearment to me. I'm not accepting it. You can, if that's your life, and that then turns my whole perspective with you in a different place. If you ever do that, if you want to call me that in your personal time, in your personal space, that's your thing. But if I hear it, that changes the whole perspective of things with me. I don't use that. I don't use that word. I don't use the N-word either. And because I just feel like we need to stop thinking negative stuff is in term of endearment. Like, people want to use negative, your child do something negative, but you want to reward them. No.
Yeah.
I'm not for that. Like,
well, you know what? Saying that, I have a lot of conversations with people. I said to somebody before, I said, within our community, I said, we're quick. And I said, you probably get mad at me for saying this. I said, we're quick to celebrate somebody getting out of prison quicker than we will celebrate somebody graduating from college.
Say that again. We'll come. We'll be there. We'll have a party. We have a coming home party. We have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but the person that graduated from college
barely get a gift.
Exactly.
Barely get a gift. Anything.
Exactly. And then the sad thing about it is the person with the jail, they did the crime. It's not
Oh
like they were
Lord, don't even
innocent.
talk about them situation. Right,
You
right.
know they did what they went to
You
jail
know
for.
they did what they did. You like
So
really? Like really?
yeah,
So I feel you on that. I feel you 100%. Oh my goodness. This has been great, Joel. I have truly enjoyed my evening with you and hanging out with you. Please give everybody the information on how they can get in touch with you. If they wanted to book you, if they wanted to buy your music, and his album is coming out soon. So let's make sure we
yep.
support, because independent artists it's a struggle, but we got to support them. And the only way they can, really make the numbers is if we get in there and we buy and we support and we, hang in there with them.
Yep. So you can have the website, which is www.treesemusic.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Joel Treese, JoelTreece. Instagram, the same thing. If you want to book me, you can either go through the website or you can hit me up at 443-310-2871.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you all joined us on this evening. Again, please follow us on all of our streaming networks, which is Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. And then we have all of our other means of ways of getting in contact with us. We have our website, www.worldwideflavornetwork.com. And then we are also on what is that? Mixcloud. I couldn't get it out. Mixcloud. We're on Mixcloud. And so we want you to always follow us. We have a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year station. And so you can listen to music. Joel music is on our station. So you never know when you might catch his music playing. I keep his music. And now that when he gives me permission, I'm going to put these two new songs on the station. So once he give me that permission to do that, that music will be on there. So we can as well, he can get all the props, because as long as your music, and that's why we take independent music artists here, as long as it's good, clean music, we will play it here on our station, because as long as you have your paperwork right, you will get your residuals and benefits from it playing on our station. So it's not something I do, but it is done through the platform that we are on. So just know that we are here to support our community. We're here to support our independent artists, because as a music manager myself, I know that it's real work, and we do our grind as managers as well as the artists do their grind. I thank you guys for joining us on today. All of our information that we've shared with you is just our own opinion and our own voice of what we hear and see in the community, and just things that we decide if we want to voice our opinion on it. And so don't take anything personal. It's just that we are sharing how we feel. And it's all out of love, and we just want things different and better for our community as a whole, and not just our community as an African American community, but our human race community, because our community has ever changed. And the only way we can be better and do better is if we be better. And we have to be the voice or the face or the action. Let me say that: the voice, the face, and the action of what change we want to see. So don't talk about what you want, be about what you want. Let people see it in you, and that may change their mindset, because we got to start somewhere. And that's the only way we can do it, is if we as a community begin within ourselves. So again, join us next week. Next Thursday will be 1 year for Worldwide Flavor Network. So I'm hoping you will join us on next week. Come by. If you want to come by the studio, feel free to come by. We're going to be here from 7 until 9. Well, because we have another show after us. So therefore, we'll be here from 7 until 9. You can come through, hang out with us for a few minutes. You want to shout out your business, I'm going to allow people to do all of that on next Thursday. So if you are free between 7 and 9 on next Thursday, come and hang out with us here at the Worldwide Flavor Network. It will be 1 year anniversary for Worldwide Flavor Network. I want to thank you for being a part of Worldwide Flavor Network, and I look forward to seeing you guys on next week. And I'll be on show on Sunday, so please join us this coming Sunday as well for the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend, and blessed rest of your evening. I love you, but know that God loves you better than I ever could. Have a blessed and wonderful night. Bye.
So long.
Oh, great show, Joe. Great show. I truly enjoyed hanging out with